We are 203 million Brazilians. Diversity.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a pivotal discussion on the future of Haiti. Today, we dive deep into understanding Haiti's immense yet untapped potential and the critical role the Caribbean Development Bank plays in unlocking it. With a young population of 11.8 million, Haiti stands as a beacon of potential in the Latin American and Caribbean region. The country boasts fertile lands, a large diaspora, and historical richness, yet it faces severe challenges that stymie its growth. Political instability, institutional weaknesses, natural disasters, and security issues have all played a part in Haiti's slow pace of development. Over the past 4 decades, these factors have significantly hindered progress, making Haiti one of the region's most fragile states. But there's a silver lining. The theme of today's meeting is resilience, and it's more than just a word, it's a commitment. The CDB is enhancing its operational framework in fragile states like Haiti to foster better outcomes and to contribute more effectively. In just a moment, our panel will explore the current socio-economic and security situations in Haiti from a regional perspective. We will share insights into the CDB's approach to development in fragile states and reiterate the government of Haiti's development plans and priorities. Moreover, we will highlight how the CDB's Haiti program aligns with these priorities and the strategic objectives of the bank. The goal? To not only discuss, but to identify ways to collaborate and optimize development in challenging circumstances. This conversation is crucial. It's about laying down the groundwork for a resilient and prosperous Haiti. So, let's gear up for an enlightening discussion that aims to transform challenges into stepping stones for development. Thank you for joining this important conversation. Let's unlock Haiti's potential together.
Good morning, everyone. It is my distinct pleasure to moderate this morning's panel. But before I do that, I want to take us back to yesterday, the smudging, as well as the reception, and I want us to bring some of that energy into the room for Haiti this morning. I have the honor of inviting Sylvie Bedard, who is the Director General for Canada, for the Caribbean and Latin America, who will deliver some opening remarks on behalf of the Canadian government. Thank you, Sylvie.
Good morning. Thank you for the introduction. Dear ambassadors and members of the diplomatic corps, dear governors and directors of the Caribbean Development Bank, dear panelists, ladies and gentlemen, amis du Canada, des Caraïbes et d'Haïti. I would first like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, and I thank them for their traditional generosity and wisdom. It is with great pleasure that I attend this panel discussion on Haiti. Together, we will review Haiti's current context and emerging transition and discuss how the bank's Haiti program can best respond to this challenging and evolving context. I would like to start my remarks by commending the bank for its sustained engagement in Haiti. Helping Haiti transition out of fragility calls for this kind of long-term engagement. Similarly, I want to commend the CARICOM for their active support to Haiti's political dialogue over the last couple of years. Building and stabilizing state structures and the economy takes time, as does winning back citizens' trust. While the short-term response to the crisis remains the priority, we need to work together to address the root causes of Haiti's fragility and foster resilient recovery more effectively. Le Canada s'est engagé à soutenir Haïti sur la voie de la sécurité, de la stabilité et de la prospérité. Depuis 2022, le Canada a engagé plus de 400 millions de dollars en aide au développement, en aide humanitaire et en aide à la sécurité en Haïti. Cela comprend le soutien au déploiement de la mission multinationale d'appui à la sécurité et aux efforts de la police nationale haïtienne afin d'établir la sécurité pour les populations civiles. La réponse du Canada à la crise en Haïti s'articule autour de 4 piliers. Renforcer le secteur de la sécurité en Haïti, soutenir les efforts de gouvernance politique, faire pression sur ceux qui soutiennent la violence et l'instabilité en Haïti en imposant des sanctions et d'autres mesures, répondre aux besoins immédiats de la population tout en s'attaquant aux causes profondes de la fragilité et en favorisant une reprise résiliente. Addressing the root causes of fragility and violence and building resilience will require strong partnerships, sustained engagement with the state, civil society, and the private sector, as well as flexible and adaptive approaches. Canada, the Caribbean Development Bank, and many other donors and partners will need to continue to adjust their strategies and programming to align with the transition government's priorities and the evolving needs of the Haitian people. Robust due diligence and fiduciary risk mechanisms will be critical to ensure our investments reach their intended target. Joint fragility assessments and effective donor coordination on the ground in Haiti will also be key in helping the country recover. With that in mind, we support the bank's efforts to deepen its partnerships and collaboration with the World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, and other development partners in Haiti. We have learned how important it is to create a stronger and more harmonized international assistance system in Haiti that lessens the burden on Haiti's extremely fragile state. Dear colleagues, I look forward to hearing from our expert panelists this morning on how the bank can best support Haiti's emerging transition and path out of fragility. Thank you for your active participation. I wish you a nice stay in our warm and humid national capital region that feels just like the Caribbean today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sylvie. For our online audience, as this panel is being live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and I know there's at least one observer because I just got a message from my daughter to say that she's watching. So there is an app, a number for a WhatsApp group where online listeners and viewers can send in their questions. So just to give you a bit of an idea of how this panel will run, there will be 2 rounds of questions, and then we'll do Q&A. And we'll take some questions, hopefully, from our online audiences as well. Director Fritz will have an opportunity to also weigh in on his views of the panel, and we're hoping that you will ask lots of questions. I want to say that this is an extraordinary moment for the bank to be hosting this discussion on Haiti at this time. When we thought about hosting this conversation, there was a bit of skepticism, mostly because of what was going on in Haiti. There was no government in place. But we couldn't avoid having Haiti. The reason why the CDB exists is exactly to serve countries like Haiti. So I'm very, very happy to see you here. We look forward to this conversation, and I trust, you can trust me that this panel won't disappoint. The first question I'm going to pose to them, and this comes out of the theme for our conference, which is Partnerships for Resilience. And the first question really has to do with how we define resilience. So we were sharing this morning that, this word resilience really came from objects, plastic reverting to its state after being, shocked by some heat or something. For human beings, resilience means the capacity to withstand a shock and to revert to our previous state. But I think we all understand resilience in the context of a country like Haiti or any country or SIDS as not reverting to the original state, but having the capacity to really think about what that new shape looks like and what happens to the shock that would have affected the country, how that has affected every single aspect, institutions, human beings, resources. And so I think it's the new shape we want to be thinking about as we think about resilience. So I want to ask my panelists, starting with Ambassador Commerson from Barbados, what does resilience in the context of Haiti mean, given the trajectory of Haiti's history over these hundreds of years?
Thank you, Therese, and let me begin by bringing everyone greetings from the Eastern Caribbean island of Ichiruganim, also known as the Republic of Barbados, just to make the point that our island was originally owned by the Lokono people, and Ichiruganim was their name for Barbados. It means red land with white teeth. Now, the concept of resilience basically defines the Caribbean people and the Caribbean civilization. If there's one group of people on this earth that are resilient, it is the Caribbean people. And it's because, I mean, of our history. Our history is one of great victimization and suffering on the slave plantation economies of the Caribbean, but also of resistance, of courage, of fortitude, and most importantly, of resilience. That is why we are still here today. And it's not just because we had to fight against the system, the evil system of slavery, but we were a proto-proletariat in a semi-industrial economy for centuries. That sugar economy, a semi-industrial economy, and out of that, out of the cultural inheritance we brought from Africa and the complex socialization processes in the Caribbean, we produce a very resilient people, and none more so than the people of Haiti. And they demonstrated that resilience in the Haitian Revolution, the cornerstone of our Caribbean civilization. And so it is because of that we have every confidence that there's nothing, no misfortune, that the Haitian people cannot overcome. A resilient people.
Thank you, David. Corinne.
And I would like to start, thank you, Therese. I would like to start by saying good morning to everyone and thanking the Government of Canada for hosting this event, but also the CDB for having the IDB on this panel. So thank you. I'm joining your words with regard to the resilience of the Caribbean. I mean, it's amazing. Every external shock has had a significant impact on the countries, but on Haiti specifically. And that has been proven by all the latest impact assessments realized in the past years after the earthquakes, after the hurricanes. So resiliency is crucial. From an IDB perspective, for us, resiliency is remaining present in Haiti through the crisis, through all the crises. So we have continued implementing projects even in this very difficult context, and we will continue doing so. That means increasing resources, not only financial, but human resources on the ground as well. So it's really remaining consistently present on the ground and working with the government to make things better for the population. Thank you.
Prof.
Thank you. In my opinion, resilience is the capacity of a person, of a community, to resist or survive to abnormal or catastrophic situation with a reduced set of resources and means. Quand j'étais étudiant en génie civil, on me faisait faire en laboratoire des tests de résilience. Et comment on les faisait, ces tests? On prenait un objet, on ajoutait des charges graduellement, une première charge, une deuxième, une troisième, jusqu'à ce que l'objet en question atteigne la rupture. Ça veut dire casse, se brise. Et à ce moment-là, on prend la mesure, on dit voilà la quantité de charge que l'objet est capable de supporter sans rompre. Dans le contexte d'Haïti, c'est ce qui est en train d'être fait. C'est que Haïti est soumis à des catastrophes de différentes natures. Quand ce n'est pas des cyclones, des ouragans, c'est des tremblements de terre ou des catastrophes humaines, comme ce qui se passe aujourd'hui avec les gangs. Et on essaie de voir jusqu'où le peuple haïtien est capable de supporter. Alors voilà une mesure de ce que ça veut dire la résilience dans le cas d'Haïti. Alors, ce que je peux conclure à partir de cela, I do not like the utilization of this term, resilience, for describing the situation of the Haitian population. Pour la raison suivante, c'est un peuple qui est soumis à des épreuves sans pouvoir prendre le contrôle de son destin en ne faisant que subir jusqu'à ce que la rupture se produise. Et cela surprend énormément de personnes que cette rupture attendue ne s'est pas produite, mais nous devons faire tous les efforts qu'il faut pour qu'on arrête de faire subir des épreuves naturelles ou humaines à cette population qui en a assez. Donc la résilience, oui, c'est une qualité, mais quand elle va jusqu'à l'excès, c'est un défaut. Merci.
Merci. Thank you. And those of you will notice that we have in the chair of the governor of Haiti, who unfortunately is not with us because Haiti is installing its new Minister of Finance today, who is Kathleen Forrestal, one of several female finance ministers that Haiti has had in its years. So thank you, Jason, for sitting in the seat of the governor and to dealing with this question.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone and those online. The CDB, we've been doing a lot of work on this idea of resilience. But when I think about Haiti in particular, an academic term or definition really doesn't come to mind. To me, a resilience in the context of Haiti is the way they live. It is about not giving up. It is about getting back up after being knocked down by political unrest, by COVID-19, by crime, by inequality, by insecurity. To me, in the context of Haiti, our resilience is an unrelenting and a persistent will, firstly, just to get back up, and then to move forward. And to me, that will is lodged deep within the DNA of every Haitian citizen, everyone living there. So to me, the Haitian people are the living embodiment of the term resilience.
Thank you. Just to remind everyone that if they need to use the headsets for the translation, they're available on your desk. Prof, I don't know if you need to use it as well, but it's sitting right in front of you, the headset for the translation. Okay, so for this round of questions, I'm going to start with Karine. We've just heard a lot about the definition of resilience in the context of Haiti. IDB, I know, like other MDBs, including the World Bank that had a huge office in Haiti, CDB's resident rep is also not located in Haiti, but we have 2 staff in Haiti. How is the IDB dealing with some of the issues on the ground, and how is it affecting some of the work that IDB is doing in the country? And what, do we have any lessons to draw out of your experience to help CDB and others just continue to do the work that we're doing in a way that's more effective for the Haitian people?
Thank you. And I will start with a little bit of context on how we work before diving into how we're dealing with the situation. So the IDB has conducted a shift in its portfolio towards social programs. So we used to be very focused on infrastructure development. In the past years, I would say for the past 3 years, we have shifted the focus on the portfolio on social, but also social aspects, but also education and health to respond to the pressing needs of the population. So between 2019 and 2024, the social share of the portfolio has increased from 8% to 26%, which is a large share of the portfolio in social protection area. How the crisis has impacted our work in Haiti? Well, first of all, infrastructure has been the most impacted. We were working on water sanitation and on roads in Port-au-Prince. We had to stop on the road sector. We had to stop the works. Those projects have also experienced higher costs, longer periods of execution as a result. Several roadworks have been interrupted, except in the north, where we can still continue implementing projects. And some of the works have interrupted not only because of the insecurity, but indirectly because of the insecurity, because international tenders didn't get any response from international firms or local firms to work on those roads in the area of Port-au-Prince. In terms of the international airport, we are working on the construction of a new control tower, and the international company working on that had to go to the Dominican Republic, so they are on standby, expected to come back at the end of June, back to Port-au-Prince. And in the water and sanitation sector, works have been interrupted in the metropolitan area. However, in the rest of the country, especially in Cape Haitian in the north, waterworks are still continuing. So about 65% of our portfolio takes place outside of Port-au-Prince, which has helped a lot. So we've been able to continue working outside of the capital city in spite of the difficult context. Now, on the industrial park of Caracol in the north, this has been significantly impacted due to different reasons, due to border closure, due to customs, due to the port issues, due to transportation. So the insecurity in general has impacted indirectly the industrial park with fuel shortages, for instance. The park has electricity thanks to diesel, and diesel supply was interrupted several times. So the park had to stop operations for a few days at a time. And the worsened business climate in general has led to a loss of appetite from international firms to establish themselves at the park. Then the border closure, but also disruption of supply chains increased the scarcity of food and gas. So this has resulted in the departure of 2 firms at the park and the loss of 5,000 jobs, which is huge for the industrial park. In terms of how we have responded to this situation, so the bank has approved earlier this year a fragility, conflict, and criminal violence framework. It is the first one for the IDB, and that is allowing us to guide our interventions and enhance also the fragility and the effectiveness in fragile contexts such as in Haiti. But we will continue tailoring our operation design and execution to this FCCV context. For operations that are in the pipeline, we are taking lessons learned from working in this context and applying the FCCV framework. But also we are modifying, reformulating operations to better adapt them to the current context in the country. We have adopted in terms of implementation of projects, so my recommendation would be to be very flexible in terms of implementation. We have adopted a stop-and-go approach based on opportunities, but also on the risks, analysis on the ground. We are implementing a lot of our projects, specifically in the social sector, through UN agencies, through local NGOs, because they have a strong presence on the ground, but they're also able to deploy people very quickly. And this has resulted in a success, actually, to deploy cash transfers and other types of assistance to beneficiaries in vulnerable areas very quickly. We involve the private sector as much as we can. It has been difficult, I must admit, in this context, but we are trying to involve it as much whenever it is feasible. And we have used third-party monitoring, which means the collection, but also monitoring of data through third parties. And that has worked as well. In terms of strengthened supervision, which is another recommendation, we are carrying out a study on UN agencies and the experience we've had with working with UN agencies in Haiti in terms of lessons learned, but also the cost of working with UN agencies, pros and cons. And we are trying to analyze what are the best supervision practices, remote, hybrid, of the IDB working with executing unit at the ministries. So those studies are ongoing right now. And in terms of strategy, as I was mentioning before, so maintain presence through crisis, understand the fragility aspect, and try to incorporate it in what we do every day, focus on the most vulnerable population. In terms of operation, it's really partnering with agencies, with NGOs that have experience on the ground, particularly in vulnerable areas, and are able to deploy people very quickly. And at the corporate level, we are working with our human resource department to identify profiles, but also to recruit talent to be able to work in this type of context. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. That's a lot there. I really appreciate that. I'd like to switch now back to Ambassador Commission from Barbados. From where you sit and from what you're hearing, you've just heard about IDB, and yesterday our bank the board approved a mini-grid infrastructure electrification project in a community outside of Port-au-Prince. So work is continuing in these very difficult, fragile situations, as was just described. But from where you sit and the role that CARICOM has played so far in one, helping to establish interim council, but also taking interest in the everyday life of what's going on in Haiti. Can you share your thoughts around how MDBs, international and the international community can help to advance Haiti's transition to its 2030 goals of being an emerging country status? That seems like a huge ambition at this moment, but what are your thoughts around that? What can we be doing better?
Well, thank you for that question, Therese, and I appreciate it because it gives me an opportunity to really reflect on the critical role that I think that the Caribbean community, CARICOM, has to play. And I want to begin with giving a little context. You implied it, that one of the main reasons why there is a presidential transitional council in Haiti today, a presidential transitional council that has given birth to a transitional prime minister and a council of ministers. One of the main reasons is because the Caribbean community, CARICOM, decided that it had to mount its very own independent initiative to assist in finding a solution to the crisis situation in its member state of Haiti. And as a result, CARICOM established an eminent persons group comprised of 3 former prime ministers and mandated that EPG to engage with the Haitian stakeholders and to try to help them to come to a basic political consensus on a way forward for Haiti. Speaking from my vantage point as Barbados's ambassador to CARICOM, I think I can confidently assert that CARICOM's leadership has evolved to a point where there is a deep commitment to the people of Haiti and a very strong resolve to stay the course and to play a very active and hands-on role in helping our Haitian brothers and sisters to come through the current crisis, to stabilize Haiti, and to have Haiti assume its rightful place within the nexus of developmental relationships that CARICOM consists of. Clearly, the main order of business for Haiti right now is to consolidate the new transitional political modus operandi and to address the critical security and humanitarian needs. And of course, CARICOM will play a helpful role in all of this through its EPG and its contributions to the multinational security support mission. But once that is done, it will be rapidly onwards to the mission of reconstruction, economic, infrastructural, and institutional reconstruction, and hopefully to national development of a quality and on a scale hitherto unknown in Haiti. In the words of the question you sent me to read, the building of resilience, social, economic, and climate on the basis of a Haitian strategic development plan. And all of this, in my opinion, will have to be accomplished with Haitian ownership and leadership of the process, but also with the mobilizing and committing of major developmental resources for Haiti by the international community. It will also, and I think this is very important, it will also require a developmental plan that situates Haiti and its development squarely in the center of the Caribbean community and fully integrated into CARICOM's many functional cooperation institutions and processes. And all of this within the parameters of the still evolving CARICOM single market and economy. The international community has a very special role to play. The international community, led by the United Nations system, must rise up to the responsibility of mobilizing development resources for Haiti on a scale commensurate with the enormity of the crimes and depredations committed against Haiti over the centuries, and at a level capable of decisively correcting Haiti's developmental deficit and setting Haiti on a course of self-generating growth and development. The truth is that virtually every single international institution is already in Haiti and has some type of Haiti project. But what is now required is much greater Haitian partnership in the leadership of those processes. Also, a significant increase in the scale and quantity of the resources that are deployed. You look at some of these projects, but the scale is not to the level where it can decisively make a difference in Haiti. And there must also be a new commitment to consciously design these projects in a manner calculated to produce resilience and self-generating growth and development in Haiti. I believe that CARICOM must play an important advocacy and watchdog role in ensuring that all of this unfolds. And I would recommend that CARICOM equip itself to accomplish this task by further institutionalizing and expanding its eminent persons group and transforming it into a permanent or semi-permanent entity that will focus on ensuring that both CARICOM and the international community remain deeply engaged with Haiti and follow through on providing Haiti with the requisite development resources. The EPG could be expanded by adding other eminent personalities, first of all from Haiti, both from Haitians at home and in the diaspora, also from the continent of Africa, and from other components of the international community, inclusive of eminent personalities with connections to or experience of the multilateral development institutions. So very important role for the EPG going forward, I believe. And then there's the nature of the development plan for Haiti. A key feature of it for me is that it should be centered around a partnership between the institutions of CARICOM and the institutions of the Haitian state and civil society, with essential funding being provided by the international community. Virtually every single CARICOM institution, associate institution, and functional cooperation institution should have a presence and a program on the ground in Haiti, partnering with Haitian counterpart institutions and contributing maximally to the development of Haiti and its integration into the Caribbean community. There are no less than 17 CARICOM institutions and 8 associate institutions, including the Caribbean Development Bank, covering every possible type of economic and social activity, ranging from agricultural development to renewable energy, public health, and let me say here, although I'm stressing CARICOM, I could extend that concept to the Caribbean, because you could see a country like Cuba, for example, being enlisted to play a very important role in helping Haiti with its public health. Education, public sector administration, disaster response, national security, and the list goes on. CARICOM has multiple functional cooperation institutions. Finally, I would end by saying that Haiti's present and future must be with the Caribbean community, and CARICOM must as a matter of duty, have Haiti's back and ensure that justice is done to its member state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. We can almost conclude the panel right on that, but I'd like to hear from Professor Pierre. You've heard a lot of what David just included in his remarks in terms of the areas that the most effort should be directed at. From where you sit, Professor, are we hitting on those main needs, or are there other areas that you think we may be missing, even with that comprehensive list that we just heard? Please share with us your thoughts.
The question that I want to ask is, what do you consider the most pressing infrastructure needs, and how can our institutions strengthen efforts and collaboration to meet these needs? Two aspects of the question: the most urgent infrastructure needs, and secondly, collaboration to meet certain needs. For the first part, all my presentation is based on a book that I have edited in 2010 after the heat cave, entitled in French, Construction d'une Haïti nouvelle, vision et contribution du GRAN. Alors, en anglais, Construction of a New Haiti, Vision and Contribution of GRAN, publié aux presses internationales polytechniques. Et dans ce livre, we have examined this question, and we have identified 4 major categories of infrastructure needed in Haiti. The first one is energy infrastructure. The second one, communications infrastructure. The third one, transport infrastructure. And finally, the road infrastructure. The first one, energy infrastructure. First one, A1, completely rehabilitate electrical energy production and distribution facilities in order to guarantee electrical service for at least 12 hours per day in the metropolitan region of Port-au-Prince and the rest of the country, which will have the effect of reduce insecurity and increase the feeling of well-being, particularly in rural areas. Second, infrastructure, execute a national rural electrification and photovoltaic panel installation program, in particular through the distribution of ovens powered by solar energy, capable of ensuring the preparation of meals for a family, particularly those established in refugees camps. Secondly, the purchase of solar street lights, which are installed in less than an hour and which provide lighting throughout the night. In terms of energy infrastructure also, we can mention a third project, rehabilitate the Pelig hydroelectric power station in order to maximize the production of this plant and secure the electricity supply through the extension and improvement of the transmission line. Project 4, design and execute waste recovery projects through recycling and composting in the neighborhoods of the metropolitan region of Port-au-Prince and in the rest of the country. Project 5, build the 30 megawatt Artibonite 4C hydroelectric power plant located downstream of Pelig and upstream of Mirebalais, which will provide electricity to many people and irrigate a wide area in the region. Project 6, harness and exploit sites suitable for wind energy in all regions of the country where viable economic potential has been highlighted, and also in the region for the possibility of installing 3 wind farms located respectively in the regions of Jacmel, Cap-Haïtien, and Lac Azuei. Second kind of communication, second kind of infrastructure needed, communication infrastructure. Just one important project to undertake in Haiti, establish a national fiber optic backbone coupled with another radio beam wireless backbone to cover the entire Haitian territory. Third category of infrastructure, transport infrastructure. Two kinds of transport infrastructure, maritime transport and air transport. In terms of maritime transport, one project which can consist in restoring the relationship with the sea, a major asset of any national economic development project, by strengthening the country's ports capable of welcoming container ships for the main ports, Port-au-Prince, Cap-Haïtien, and Gonaïves, the secondary ports, Port-de-Paix, Fort-Liberté, Saint-Marc, Niagouane, Jérémie, Les-Cayes, and Jacmel, and in other coastal towns where there is no road option and where cabotage is significant, a simpler infrastructure consisting of docks will be sufficient. In terms of air transport, by imperative or regional balance and openness to the outside world, distribute international air traffic over 3 main airports located near the main cities, Port-au-Prince, Cap-Haïtien, and Les-Cayes. Secondly, extend the runways to 3,000 meters and modernize passenger reception conditions as well as navigation control means. Preserve the achievements and protect ourselves against the risk of and hazard of nature by maintaining in service and maintaining regional airports, including those of Jérémie and Port-de-Paix. Road infrastructure. Accelerate the operations of upgrading and permanent and effective maintenance of the primary network and begin those relating to the secondary network, departmental roads connecting the main towns of each department to each other and to the primary network. Second project in this category, launch and carry out rehabilitation operations and permanent and effective maintenance of secondary and tertiary networks to open up rural areas, including agricultural production areas. The second part of my presentation, collaboration to meet certain needs. 5 very relevant projects to carry out or to support. Extract from my previous presentation. Execute a national rural electrification and photovoltaic panel installation program. There is such kind of program in Haiti. It is the FAR program, Haitian program for access to solar energy for rural communities. Possible collaboration can be between CDB, Pigran Energy, which is a private enterprise, and the Center of Competence and Expertise in Renewable Energy, CCER, which is another project held in Haiti. Second relevant project, design and execute waste recovery projects through recycling and composting in the neighborhoods of the metropolitan region of Port-au-Prince and in the rest of the country. Possible collaboration between CDB and GRAN in a project to recover plastic waste to produce oil. Third project to support, establish a national fiber optic backbone coupled with another radio wireless backbone to cover the entire Haitian territory. Possible collaboration with the Haitian state, NATCOM, and Digicel in a large-scale PPP project. Interconnection with the Caribbean Knowledge and Learning Network, CKLN, which coordinates and manages the development of CaribNet, the regional research and education network that connect CARICOM institutions for greater collaboration and functional cooperation. C1, restore the relationship with the sea, a major asset of any national economic development project, by strengthening the country's ports capable of welcoming container ships. Project to be carried out by the Haitian state in partnership with WB, IDB, and CDB. And finally, launch and carry out rehabilitation operations and permanent and effective maintenance of secondary and tertiary networks to open up rural areas, including agricultural production areas. Project to be carried out by the Haitian state in partnership with WB, IDB, CDB, and the European Union. thank you for your assistance. Merci beaucoup. Merci en pile.
Merci, Professor. Thank you so much for that. Jason, turning to you now, I was very struck by the Director General this morning, Executive Director's remarks this morning about needing to make sure that Haiti has robust, I'm quoting her, robust, summarizing, fiduciary and public financial management policies in place to address some of the issues that were raised by Karine, but all the speakers so far in terms of reestablishing the investment environment for Haiti. But from where you sit, what are some of the other policies that we can help to support to make sure that the economic trajectory of Haiti is also equitable, meaning we're reducing the inequalities and some of these grave situations that were just raised by the professor?
Thank you for that question. And to respond, I just want to set a context in terms of the current inequality that exists in Haiti. When we look at Haiti, the inequality is particularly pronounced in between the rural and the urban areas. Gender equality in particular is persistent in the provision of health services, reproductive services, political representation, although recently we've seen some positive steps in that regard, and violence against women and girls. Gender inequality is seen as well in terms of the gender earning gap. Haitian women earn much less than men and are less likely to have a bank account. They have lower access to education, healthcare, and high incidence of gender-based violence. And all of these hamper economic opportunities for women. So within that context, what type of policies can be implemented, as Teresa mentioned, in order to reduce this inequality? And I think that the first broad category of policies is growth-enhancing policies. And you know, the governor, Mr. Gabriel, shared with us some data, and I think we should make it available to everyone here because the data really made a point very forcefully to me. He shared with us real GDP growth in Haiti, real GDP per capita, rather, in Haiti over the past 6 decades. And that data showed a systemic and perpetual decline in real GDP per capita over 6 decades. Now that is very, very important because what it is saying is that population growth has been growing faster than production. And this has been happening consistently over a long period of time. And we know as well that when this occurs, poor economic performance tends to perpetuate instability, it tends to perpetuate fragility of institutions, and as such, there is an urgent need in order to accelerate growth in the medium term in Haiti. So in order to do that, what are some of the things we can do? Well, at the base of accelerating growth is that we need to restore address the security issues, to restore peace and stability. That's the very core of it. And in addition to that, some of the policies that could help in terms of the inequalities that we see is investment in infrastructure and education. And we know that Haiti does have limited fiscal space, so it may mean some reprioritization of expenditure, some improving the efficiency of spending, improvements in revenue, which we've been seeing in recent times, and as well seeking concessional finance in order to invest in this infrastructure and education. There also needs to be an improvement in both the quality and the access to educational services. Notwithstanding that there have been improvements, there's still constraints in terms of educational access in all levels. Improving the business climate is key. We need to reduce the red tape. You need to improve access to credit and help micro, small, and medium enterprises prepare business plans and really boost their production resilience. Increase utilization of renewable energy. I mean, we mentioned, it was already mentioned here, the mini-grid project yesterday that the bank approved, and we are very, very proud of that project because one of the main constraints to growth is access to electricity. And there are estimates that as much as 50% of the population may not have access. And building investment in agriculture is another key area because in rural areas, agriculture is a key sector to provide employment, to provide for several persons. And so investment in agriculture can create opportunities in order to realign the distribution. So that's the first category of policies, policies to enforce economic growth. But then fiscal policy also has another important role in terms of redistributing some of this income inequality through both taxes and in-kind transfers such as health, education, etc. And so improved revenue collection, which in recent times we have been seeing through reforms through the IMF staff monitoring program, strengthened tax administration, a more progressive taxation system, and as well as a strengthening of the social safety net can help to channel resources through targeted transfers to the most vulnerable. So we know that improved income inequality will improve growth outcomes, and those growth outcomes can be achieved through both enhancing your growth-stimulating policies as well as through your fiscal policy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We've had a real fulsome first round of presentations, and I'd like to open the floor to some questions. Before I do that, I'd like to turn to Director Fritz for a few comments on what he's heard this morning.
Merci. I will speak in French. Je voudrais d'abord remercier l'ensemble des panélistes qui ont fait des interventions très pertinentes au regard de la situation économique et sociale en Haïti. Je voudrais également féliciter, remercier la Banque caribéenne de développement pour cette initiative et nous pensons que l'occasion est pertinente pour échanger, pour partager des idées par rapport au contexte sociopolitique en Haïti. Comme vous le savez très bien, nous avons un nouveau gouvernement. Il y a un conseil présidentiel de la transition qui a été mis en place. Nous avons un gouvernement opérationnel sous le leadership du Premier ministre Dr Gary Conille. Hier, la nouvelle ministre, Madame Kathleen Florestal, elle a été installée dans ses fonctions comme d'abord ministre de l'économie et des finances et comme ministre de la planification et de la coopération externe. Hier, dans ses allocutions, elle a annoncé un ensemble de mesures d'action pour redresser l'économie. Et en attendant ces instructions, j'aimerais quand même soulever quelques points par rapport aux interventions des différents panélistes. Et par rapport au choc sociopolitique et naturel que le pays a connu pendant les 5 dernières années, ces chocs ont impacté considérablement l'économie et surtout les ménages les plus pauvres en Haïti. Face à ce contexte, le gouvernement n'a pas ménagé d'efforts pour adresser ces questions de fragilité, de vulnérabilité au changement climatique. D'abord, en termes de renforcement de la résilience au changement climatique, nous avons adopté un plan national de gestion des risques et des désastres. Et à travers ce plan, nous avons mis en place des abris provisoires et un système d'alerte pour permettre de sauver des vies pendant les périodes de catastrophe. Et à titre d'exemple, je peux citer le tremblement de terre de 2021, grâce à ce renforcement de capacité nationale en matière de gestion des risques, les dégâts sur le plan humain étaient moindres par rapport aux précédentes catastrophes. Et c'est un facteur important en matière de résilience au changement climatique. Il faut noter également, en parallèle, le gouvernement a pris des initiatives pour renforcer sa résilience financière aux catastrophes naturelles. Chaque année, le gouvernement, à travers son budget, paie une prime d'assurance contre les chocs climatiques tels que le cyclone tropical, les fortes pluviométries et le tremblement de terre. Et à travers cette initiative, nous bénéficions également du soutien de la Banque caribéenne de développement. Et pendant le tremblement de terre de 2021, on a reçu de la part de CRIF un payout de près de 40 millions de dollars. Et ce payout a permis au gouvernement d'intervenir rapidement pour réhabiliter les écoles, les hôpitaux, les routes qui ont été affectées par le tremblement de terre. Et en termes de résilience sociale, comment nous soutenons les populations vulnérables et les gens défavorisés. Nous avons adopté en 2020 notre plan national de politique sociale. Et à travers ce plan, le gouvernement met en place des cash transferts. Et avec le support de la Banque interaméricaine de développement, de la Banque mondiale et d'autres partenaires techniques comme le PAM, nous distribuons des cash transferts aux ménages les plus vulnérables. Effectivement, on n'a pas les moyens financiers nécessaires pour toucher l'ensemble des populations vulnérables, mais avec la volonté qui existe en Haïti et le soutien accru des partenaires techniques et financiers, nous comptons élargir notre programme de protection sociale pour soutenir les ménages les plus vulnérables face aux catastrophes ou bien face à d'autres chocs politiques. Sur le plan de la résilience institutionnelle, pendant la période de crise, nous avons pu maintenir un programme Staff Monitoring avec le FMI, et Jenson a mentionné ce point pendant son intervention. Nous avons pu améliorer la gestion des finances publiques à travers la mobilisation des recettes fiscales et la rationalisation des dépenses. Et nous avons aussi augmenté la part du budget national consacré au programme de protection sociale en vue de protéger les ménages vulnérables. Et en termes d'infrastructures, et notamment ce qui a trait à la connectivité, et pour améliorer la vie des gens, comme vous le savez très bien, beaucoup de zones en Haïti sont bloquées, sont sous le contrôle des gangs armés. Ça bloque la circulation des biens et services et ça entraîne également des pressions, de fortes pressions sur les prix. Et en termes de priorité, et en attendant les instructions formelles de la nouvelle ministre, Mme Kathleen Florestal, le gouvernement entend réhabiliter ces infrastructures qui sont endommagées et qui sont essentielles pour redresser l'économie. En parlant des routes, notamment des routes principales dans la zone métropolitaine, la réhabilitation de certains équipements collectifs comme les écoles, et par exemple à Port-au-Prince, plus de 60 à 70% des hôpitaux ont été dysfonctionnels pendant la crise, et notamment pendant les derniers mois. Et le gouvernement entend améliorer ces infrastructures à travers des interventions ciblées. Et il faut aussi renforcer la résilience communautaire. Ça, c'est fondamental pour Haïti. Comme vous le savez, les femmes et les adolescentes, les jeunes, ils sont affectés, ils sont les premières victimes des violences exercées par les gangs. Et nous voulons recommander aux donateurs de soutenir l'allocation d'Haïti et proposer dans le cadre de la reconstitution des ressources du Fonds spécial de développement. Je pense que c'est important, il faut soutenir la reconstitution. Merci infiniment pour votre attention.
Merci à vous. We have just a couple of minutes left. Are there any questions from directors or anyone from the floor? We have one question from an online audience member that I'm going to direct to David. Any questions from directors? Comments? This panel, I think, has given us a lot to think about in advance of our SDF discussions, which are happening soon. Go ahead, please. I recognize. Is it Columbia? It's hard for me to see from here.
Thanks all the panelists for your comprehensive explanations. I have a question for Ms. Corinne from IDB. You mentioned this stop-and-go approach for the projects. Could you please explain a little bit more about this mechanism? Thank you.
Sure, and thank you for the question. What I meant is when we implement projects and we have interruptions, we stop and then we resume later on. That has been working in several sectors. We don't cancel the projects completely, but we stop for a while, assess the situation, and then we try to start again. And we've done that in several sectors.
Thank you. Here's the question from an online listener. The demographics of Haiti, largely young population in many CARICOM countries, largely aging populations, present complementarities for development. What prospects are there for labor mobility between Haiti and its CARICOM neighbors? This is directed at David.
Excellent question, and it helps to bring out further the point I was trying to make in my contribution. Haiti could indeed, Haiti is the newest CARICOM member state. Haiti became a full member state in 2002. CARICOM was formed in 1973. But Haiti could actually be the key to the robust economic development of CARICOM, because just as the questioner implies, several of the CARICOM member states, and my country of Barbados perhaps in particular, is suffering from aging populations. Barbados does not naturally reproduce its population. We have a declining population. Were it not for inward migration, we would have a decline in population, and we have a kind of first world profile of our population. And aging aging population. Barbados could benefit from young, economically active migrants coming to, play a role in building the economy, contributing to the tax revenues, contributing to the social security system. CARICOM has a combined population of 18 million, and Haiti provides 11 of those 18 million. Barbados is the most densely populated CARICOM country, yet we are underpopulated. There are other CARICOM countries like Guyana, Suriname, Belize that are tremendously underpopulated. These are very large geographical spaces with relatively minute population. So Haiti has a demographic resource that could be deployed, utilized right across the Caribbean community. But the key is really to get Haiti stable, because, when the Prime Minister Motley took government in 2018, one of the first acts of her government was to remove visa requirements for Haitians. But that act coincided with corporate airlines doing 2 direct flights from Panama to Barbados every week, and immediately those flights were monopolized by Haitians. And so many Haitians were coming into Barbados because of the visa-free regime that the whole situation became untenable. Just too many were coming, and of course they were coming because of the gross instability in Haiti. So if we could only stabilize Haiti so that there's not that great push factor, so many Haitians seeking to leave, and we could have a more orderly and managed migration policy. But that, yes, a CARICOM, well thought out, well constructed migration policy with Haiti at the center of it can be the key to the future development of our Caribbean community. So this is one of the things I look forward to. My vision of going forward is that CARICOM must play a very central role, and one of the critical components of that central role must be a migration policy with Haiti at the center of it. Thank you.
Colleagues, I think we've run out of time, but I want to acknowledge that online we received a number of questions, particularly with respect to some of the suggestions raised by Professor Pierre. And I want to let them know that we will respond to those online questions. A lot were asking about how can they get involved, what would it really take to get some of those projects off the ground. Lots of questions around how do we enforce the stability, the security situation that's needed in Haiti. Again, those questions will be addressed. I want to thank our directors for their attention, staff who are here for this session, the online audience. This is a really very encouraging moment for the bank and for Haiti, and also for the Canadian government for their support in us hosting this panel this morning. Thank you very much. And I love this graphic. I think it says it all. Thank you.